Welcome to the Third Wind channel. Today we're doing a really exciting video that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've done over 10 AHS videos talking about different seasons. I'm doing this ongoing series about the seasons ranked. The first episode of that is out right now. And you know, now I want to do a tier list of at least all the main characters of the show throughout the seasons, and I think this would be really fun to just compare and talk about all these characters when put all together in one tier list. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number one, first up, we got Vivian Harmon. I thought Vivian was one of the weaker characters of that season. She was okay, but she just wasn't stand out to me. And I think there's a reason why they only cast the actress one time. Not to say that she's a bad actress, but I don't know. She wasn't all that impressive, and I don't know. I didn't really like Vivian's character too much. Next up we got Ben. Ben Harmon. I think Ben's like a B. I think he's really funny. I love it when they come back to Ben in Apocalypse as well. Um, there's so many memes about him. I like the whole therapist thing, and I don't know. I think he makes for quite entertaining kind of dad in the show, and I enjoyed his character. I'll move quite quickly because I don't want this to be a 2-hour video. Constance Langdon is goated in this show, with her always somehow creating these monsters, being kind of the the gateway to hell's kind of innkeeper almost. And I think she's a really interesting character, really well played as well, and she's kind of almost I'd say apart from the Tate Violet stuff, she's kind of the heart of the season, for Murder House. So I'd like to put her at ARS. I love that she returned for Apocalypse as well. So we'll leave her at A for now. Next we got Moira. I'll move this down a bit so we can see these pictures better. Moira. We have both versions here. I'm gonna put them together because it's one character. Moira I think is great. I think I'd put Moira, um, especially the stuff in Apocalypse. I almost want to put Moira up here, honestly. Moira's fantastic. I love the two-sided thing. I love that she kind of talks up the different people in the house. She's helpful, but she can be deceptive. And her kind of relationship with Vivian and Constance are really nice. I love in Apocalypse when she comes back to rise the role, and all she wants is for her bones to be dug up, and for them to be taken to her grave with her mother, which is really really beautiful. And that episode itself for me makes Apocalypse just a great season, although a lot of people didn't like it. Next we got Hayden. I thought Hayden was actually really, I haven't watched Murder House in a while, but Hayden doesn't get enough, I don't know, respect. I thought it was really interesting that she tracked down Ben all the way, like, wasn't it across the country, and in the end, she just got completely disrespected because she was pregnant. And she came, found him, and she was still willing to make it, happen. And Larry kills her. Wasn't that what happened? Took care of Ben's problem. And I think she was quite interesting, and kind of like this crazy yet likable character, at least for me, at least. Next we got Larry. Larry, although I wouldn't say he's a good person, but that's what this tier list is about. It's about how interesting I guess the characters are. I would like to put Larry about here. Larry's really cool, a really cool character because he's just been through so much suffering, and any character that's been through as much suffering as him is always going to be really interesting. And there's a lot of things to talk about, and his backstory is brutal as well, being married to Constance, and yeah, I really enjoyed his character thoroughly. Next we got Tate, and I know there's a lot of Tate lovers, a lot of Tate haters, but I think Tate is pretty goated in this show, and I think Violet's. I'm not gonna rate them together. I think Tate's a little better than Violet in my opinion. I know he's a horrible person, but his undying kind of affection for Violet is really what makes that so special. And I guess another interesting thing about Tate is how he talked to Michael, his son. That was pretty intense. Just got so much anger, but so much love, and what a tragic character, and what a tragic relationship that was. Um, but honestly, Violet, I realize now Ben should be behind Moira, and Violet can be behind Moira as well, but in front of Ben. That's how I'd put that. Because, obviously spoiler warning, but when Violet finds out she's dead and all that, and Murder House has a lot of cool things that happen. I don't know. I've realized this is quite top heavy already, but that is Murder House. At least the characters we get on this tier list. Moving on, we have Asylum. Many people mark this as the best season of all time. And let's dig into the characters. Let's see. First, we got Lana Winters, who is um complete S tier, I think. Just that story, it's remarkable. What she went through. She was a journalist, then she got trapped in there. Then she meets face to face in the basement from what she thinks is a savior. Turns out to be a serial killer. She makes it out alive, and in the end, she even survives an attack many years later from his son who wants revenge. And oof. And then she creates a successful career, and she appears a couple times on the show. She's just a goated character. Her character is one of the strongest of the show. Next, we got Sister Jude, who I'd place like right here next to Constance. It's again, what a story, right? I don't think that I loved the way they did. I mean, her leading and stuff, she's not a great person, and I don't think that was so great, but like seeing her journey in terms of uh seeing her end up in the asylum completely broken, that's what made her character really shine for me. And it was just tragic. She was not savable anymore, and that just shows what happens in that asylum. And I don't know, really interesting. Oliver Thredson, one of the more terrifying and biggest plot twists in the show. You first, he's the one really likable, and then he turns out he's a serial killer, and he's got lamps made of skin, lampshades, and oof, um, really strong character again. Even though he's the villain, that doesn't matter. We're doing it by how good the character is. I put him around here. Honestly, really scary guy. Next we got Sister Mary Eunice, who's again we get many interesting villains in this season, and I think Sister Mary Eunice is in this like Moira tier, although I want to put her here honestly, just because the whole the nicest, most innocent girl turns into gets abducted by the devil and does all these crazy things, and I don't know, that kind of idea really cool. I don't know, it just worked really well. So I'd put it around A. I'll adjust if, later on if it doesn't make sense anymore. Monsignor is like, I don't know, F. I didn't find him interesting at all, and he was one of the things in the season which I just didn't care for so much. Grace, I think, is a D. I don't know, the vibe with her was kind of off. Um, she might be better than Vivian. She can be our first C tier. Um, Never really connected with her so much, and although I do think it was interesting the scene at the end where she gets, was it her that gets killed, or its other wife? I don't think it was Grace that got killed. Yeah, it was. Brutal, but yeah, about a C. Arthur Arden, I put him around here. I think he's again, I'd put him in the villain category. What a some terrifying scenes with him when he's experimenting, and his weird relationship with Mary Eunice and his creations, and the kind of fight for the power over the asylum. I think he makes her character. Ben Harmon's probably a little too high here, huh? Be together with his mistress. Next, we got Kit Walker, who is a less powerful character than Lana Winters. But again, what a story. We can put him just in front of Violet. Violet can go probably, behind Larry. Moving on, we have Coven. Okay, I'll sum up Asylum. You see, quite top heavy. You know, got some really powerful characters, but then some characters that I don't care for so much as well. Moving on, we have Madison Montgomery. Although I don't really have a justifiable reason to put her here, she's just really unique, and Emma Roberts does the whole sassy uh character so well, and I really like her appearance in Apocalypse, where her nightmare is working in retail. Um, and all she just kind of like spices up that season a little bit with some feels modern. I don't know, something like that. I really like her character and this kind of modern take on depression, and I think they really nailed it. So I think she goes about here. I'm always tempted to put her in S, but I don't think that's quite right. Moving on, we have Cornelia. I think she's kind of overrated. I don't know. Like, I get why she's liked so much, but at the same time, she's not so unique. She's just very caring for her sisters, and I'm willing to put her like here, top of B, decent. Fiona Good. I would put her about here. I think it's really interesting, the whole power dynamic between the two and who's running the house and all the turns that happened there. And her end was dramatic. Hell. And yeah, moving on. And got Myrtle. Myrtle's a really unique character. I think that I want to put her here for the same reasons I would put Madison here. She's just got this very unique um way of speaking, the whole design thing. It's a real like character, and how do I put this? She's just awesome. I don't know. Moving on, we got Zoe. Zoe is very meh to me. She goes in Grace tier. She can go one above Grace. And her being kind of the main-ish character doesn't make too much sense. That's how we get introduced to the season, so about there. It's just a little too basic. I don't know. Next, we got Kyle, who is like, someone who should have never been resuscitated. You put all the best parts together kind of deal, and he's this crazy, uncontrollable, angry, yet sensitive guy who, is literally Frankenstein. So, um, he can go together with Hayden, just above Hayden. Misty Day is iconic to me. I don't know, something like immediately when I see this picture, I just, you just get back into the vibe of the season, and such a strong character, instantly recognizable. I'd like to put her like up here with Tate, but Tate can go in front, like just iconic. Balding, again, another excellent Dennis O'Hare performance. I think he deserves to go just in front of Kit Walker, close to his loyal Fiona Good. Next we got Delphine, who I think is a really fun character. Awful what was she, queen? Um Blatant racist, but you put a blatant racist in today's non-racist, or at least uh less racist society, and it made for some really interesting uh scenes, especially when her head was put in front of the TV for the "I Have a Dream" speech. It's just some really fun moments. I think we can go just behind Arthur Arden. Moving on, we got Queenie. I really like Queenie's power. I think Queenie's. By the way, what I still haven't figured out what was Madison's power again. Was it like telekinesis or something? I've completely forgotten, but it's not very. It doesn't stick in my mind. But whose power really just sticks in my mind is Queenie's. I think it was always so cool how you can do the whole voodoo thing, and that really sticks out to me. And I think that Queenie was cool. I'd put her just, and she appeared in Hotel as well, which is cool. I don't know. Again, one of those that was really memorable. I think I'd put her just behind Arthur Arden. Next we got her name was Marie Laveau. And I think she's really powerful. Like she really conveys that feeling of power really well, and the warring kind of magical sides. I thought it was really interesting, and she stood her ground. Powerful witch, or not witch, voodoo queen. Can go behind Arthur Arden as well. Now, Arthur Arden is a wall. I almost want to put Arthur Arden here actually, and then like this. Next, we got the X-Men, who goes in the forgotten for me. This was kind of a weird turn in the season, so I'm putting him in the forgotten just because I don't remember his purpose or if he really was a strong character at all. So I'm gonna put it in there. Next we're moving. Oh, I mean Colt. A season full of spicy characters. That's what I can say about that season, and some very memorable ones. And it's for good reason that they came back. Next we got Freak Show, one of my favorite seasons. Even just for the aesthetics, I thought it was a really interesting concept. Betty and Dot, iconic character, and the fact that they could pull this off, and it earned them some Golden Globes, I think, and rightfully so. It was amazing television. I think I'd put Penny and Dot at the bottom of A. The character, the kind of warring sisters. Sometimes they want to kill each other, and there's one that wants to be famous, and one's more serious and cares about their safety. I thought that was really cool. Um, is it A tier? I think I might be going just for the aesthetics here. It's a cool character. The fact they pulled it off, it's enough for me to put it at the bottom of A. Next, we got Dell. Not really a villain, but kind of. I thought he was pretty scary because he was hard to control, kind of like Roid Rage or whatnot, and he was effective. Um, I think though he's just a little lackluster maybe. And now I'm looking at this list, and I think Kyle can move down to C, and so can Hayden. Something like this. Yeah, Dale just a little lackluster, so I'm gonna put him here. Next, and I'm actually gonna move Grace down to a D. Next, we got Maggie Esmeralda, who has this fight between being good and bad. Although she really is good, her loyalty is with a bad guy, and my understanding is that he helped her, so she's trying to like balance the sides, and in the end, she tries to help, but it's too late. And I think she's a fairly endearing character who ended up in a really bad spot, and it's her fault, but you feel some remorse. She feels remorse for that. Um, Bottom of B, maybe. I think that's fair. Next, we got Desire, whose character I remember as kind of motherly, but that's probably not it. She can go in the forgotten. Honestly, I don't remember her character so well. Next, we got Stanley, who is a very underrated villain. It's terrifying. He was willing to take humans and kill them and sell them. That's terrifying. That's a real American horror story, and I think that he's underrated. I'll put him next to Esmeralda. I think he's a stronger villain than people kind of give him credit for. He'll go about there. Mm. Yeah, and I'll move Delphine down to the bottom of B. Next, we got the real motherly figure of the season. Her name was, let me remember, Ethel. Ethel. I really liked Ethel's character. Um, kind of giving the best advice. That's how I remember her. She can go just behind, or she can go at the top of C, just because I don't. That's all I remember about her character. Although I know she's a great character. Bottom of B. How's that? Next we got Elsa Mars, who is this, in my eyes, this selfish person with a dark past who doesn't realize what she has until it's gone. I think that's about it. And she it feels like she hasn't worked hard enough for her dream, and it's kind of sailed, and she's um spending other people to try to make something happen, and she's just, as a character she's quite strong, but as a person, gosh, almost a villain. I think there's a lot of Elsa lovers, so I might get some stick for this, but I'd put her around here. Yeah, about there. Next, we have, name was Jimmy. I like Jimmy a lot. I think that he had a lot of heart. He tried to defend his what would you call them? Um, Work associates? No, his friends. And I think that heart was really great. And I'd put him just in front of Elsa Mars, I think. I got too many people in B, don't I? Moving on, we have Mrs. Mott, who can go in an F, raised, or like the concept of, a mother raising such a monster obviously is interesting. And I guess that's something they tried to bring up. But as a character, it's an F. It's just a little annoying seeing her do all these terrible things. I don't know. She doesn't necessarily do terrible things, but she's an F. Moving on, we got Pepper. Um, I think Pepper's really endearing, and some of the saddest moments come through Pepper. And it's just a tragic story. So many tragic stories in Freak Show. I think I'd put Ethel. No, not Ethel. Pepper about here. Maybe some people will get angry about that, but she doesn't have dialogue, so it's kind of difficult to put her higher as a character for me. Next we got Twisty the Clown, who's an iconic, super scary clown with a pretty dark story. I think he's goated character on this show. I almost want to put him in S, but he's not quite there. We'll say A because he's just so iconic, and the whole thing, the whole clown thing in his story was quite entertaining. Dandy Mott, I think, is one of the scariest villains of the show. Maybe the scariest. It's just um these kinds of people exist in the world, and it's terrifying. They can come off as completely normal people, but they have these really dark, I guess, cravings, and they, don't be as heartless as he was. That's scary. That's a real American Horror Story, and to me, that deserves an S tier. I'm gonna start moving probably some characters up to S. But we'll keep moving on. We'll see. Next, we have. Oh, we're done with Freak Show. Yeah, we're done with Freak Show. I think Freak Show is really interesting. A lot of, it's so dark. I think that's probably why I like it. It's just really thought provoking. And to me, that's, out of all the seasons, that's the one which is the realest American Horror Story. Just all these people that get treated horribly. Moving on, we got Hotel, which is a season that I'm gonna try to breeze through because my some of these characters are really blurry in my head. Um, that We'll just make, probably a few will end up in forgotten because this season's blurry, like I just said. Sally, I think she's like a C tier, just behind Kyle for me. I like her purpose, which is kind of messing with people, showing the dark side or dark reality of culture, and kind of messing with John's head, and saying, "Look, you're a lot more like me than you think." I think that was her purpose. Next, we got John's wife. Her name was Alex. She's a little blurry in my head, but as a character, I can understand her anger, but I don't know. I didn't really like the character so much. Next, we got Liz, who is goated. I'd say, um, we can give Liz like a Myrtle tier because they're similar in terms of the aesthetic, not quite the aesthetic. It's the vibe, kind of the uniqueness of the character, and it was a really strong acting play, and it was just really fun. I like the partnership between Liz and Iris as well. You'll do Iris next. I think Iris is. We'll put her here. The whole mother thing with Donovan was interesting, and yeah, I don't know. Feels kind of wrong putting her. Put her here. Two mothers next to each other. I think that's appropriate. Then we got Elizabeth, who I'm a bit mixed about, but as a villain, she didn't really scare me so much. Vampires had to be brought up at some point, but I think they did it well, but it just isn't very effective for me. I'd put her like here, but stunning. Having Lady Gaga on the show, and it was really stunning to watch. Next we got Donovan, who I had to read up on a little bit before this video. I, you know, it, he's written off like kind of like a good guy in the end, and the whole bring me outside of the hotel thing was, you know, very warm feeling. So, I'll put him next to his mom. Although it feels wrong putting him higher than Kyle, so I honestly think he's more like there. Next, we got a character I remember very poorly, so I'm gonna put her in the forgotten Ramona. Then we got John, who I think is what really, I mean, he's the story of the season. And the plot twist, I can't believe I didn't see it coming. Um, Super interesting. I think John deserves to be like here. I don't know if people like him or not, but I thought he was really interesting. Crazy plot twist. And I thought it was quite well done. Uh, and we have probably one of my favorite characters in the show. It, he didn't need a good story, although I think the story is alright. The character is just so entertaining. To me, he's just a straight S tier. Amazing. I don't think I need to say much more. The aesthetic, it brought him back for Apocalypse was so funny playing cards with Queenie, and scary, entertaining, charismatic. He reminds me a bit of Michael Langdon, like for the same reasons I like Michael Langdon, but he's even better. Next, see, this is where I'm gonna put her in the Forgotten, but I'd probably put her in like a C or B. I thought it was really cool how she's like cleaning the bloody sheets. I think she's meant to be um March's wife. That might be very wrong, but again, the Forgotten. Again, another the Forgotten. I don't think I like them very much anyway. This guy can go in D because he didn't seem very great, and I don't know what his purpose really was. It kind of, I guess, to stir the thing with Elizabeth and Donovan. And yeah, Hotel, like I said, a little blurry in my head, but it gave us some one or two really strong characters. I think the story was all right, but it was a little crazy. Next, moving on, we have Roanoke, who I wanted to make an own tier for Roanoke because I just, you watch that, it's like watching not, you don't watch it for the characters, and the characters aren't strong enough for me to even really rate them. So what I'll do for this one is just pop them all into the forgotten. I hope that no one gets too mad at this. I don't really want to use time on this Roanoke season. It's a little blurry as well. Um, so yeah, excuse me, but yeah, the only one I'll say, the Butcher. I think it's a cool character, and I like both versions with the two different actresses. I think the Butcher can go, like, the whole colony thing was really cool. I put the Butcher about, with Ben. Next, I'll put Ben in front of him. Her. Next, we're moving into Colt, which I've done an episode on. I deemed it the worst season of the show, uh, but it's really fresh in my mind, and I have a lot to say about the characters. Allie. Allie, the screamer. I think they forced her character a little too much. She changed a little too fast, and in turn, I thought her character was slightly annoying. I see where they were going with her, but it just failed, and I couldn't say that I like Allie more than any of these characters above her. I even want to put Kyle above her, to be honest. Moving on, we got Rudy. Um, yeah, about the same place. Honestly, thought he was slightly more interesting managing this crazy family. Winter. Winter is, along with Kai, one of the stronger characters of the season. I thought she was really damaged because, what happened to her parents, but she still had this warmness, and what happened to her was just so sad, and I don't know. I guess it earned some kind of. She just had this light warmth. I don't know. I thought she was more interesting and had more depth, so I'm gonna put her about there. Ivy, like, F. I don't know. The plot twist. You could see it coming, and I don't know. I just really didn't like Ivy's character very much. Probably of F tier though. Put this guy in F tier too. Kai, such a like, it doesn't. It's kind of the same situation as March. Um, he's not an S tier, but it's just so entertaining. I like to put him with Twisty the Clown. Really entertaining villain, and he kind of just makes this season watchable because you just so unpredictable. You never know what he's gonna do. It's really, and his kind of unraveling throughout the season was entertaining. So he definitely gets the highest in this season. Moving on, we got some more another F tier character, very uninteresting, very unlikable. Thought Beverly was slightly more interesting. She can go, like, here for kind of ultimate want for revenge, and um it was more interesting, and there was a story there. Meadow, about there, not very interesting either, but honestly, probably behind Ivy. This guy, I guess it was their take on the kind of radical American Trump supporter, and I don't think they're too far off. Maybe a little extreme, but he can get bottom of D tier. Uh, he had some frightening moments. The whole season was a little too real. And then we get into, and then I'll just say that Colt's characters. I think one of the reasons that people don't like that season, or at least I don't really like that season, is maybe because the characters were, I don't know, a bit forced to be real or whatever, and I don't know, it just didn't do the trick for me. Although Kai was really entertaining. Moving on, Miss Venable. She was not very good. Uh, the first three episodes with her, and then you get her a little bit later, and those first three episodes are pretty dry, and Miss Venable is one of the reasons why. She just gets outshined in every way by Michael Langdon, so it goes here for me. Next, we got Oh yeah, we're into Apocalypse now, by the way. His name was Mr. Gallant. I thought kind of interesting this stuff with him and the black suit, and then or the Rubber Man, and then with Michael Langdon. But he's still not better. He's still not better than Vivian. Next we have Jeff. We'll go with Jeff and Mutt at the same time. Where's Mutt? Jeff and Mutt. Entertaining, a little too dumb. Better than Vivian? Absolutely not. So they can go about here. So as you can tell, these bunker characters were pretty dry. And the same I mean, actually, Dina. Dina was a really interesting way to draw us back into the coven. Um, and the challenge for kind of the voodoo queen thing, and then Angela Bassett's character coming back, Marie Laveau, really cool. I think that we could put Dina. Also, Ivy's probably worse. And Hayden, as you can tell, I mean, I didn't really like Allie's character. Dina Stevens. Ah, about there, I think is actually right. Because she's a really easy character to hate. And I think that's job well done. Moving on, although, yeah, she's better than most of the bunker characters. Moving on, we have Mallory, who I thought was a really likable witch. I like that she kept the whole apocalypse thing secret, and the kind of monologue you get at the end, and the whole story with her. I thought she was this kind of mystical, almost religious. Uh, not the opposite of the Antichrist, whatever that is. Really cool. So I'd put her about better than, actually, you know what? Let me just do. Mm, I think about better than Queenie. Just ahead of Violet, I think is right for her. Next we have Coco, who, although her superpowers are very interesting, I think she deserves to be slightly more interesting than Mutt. Say about there. Next, and the first 3 episodes of her are quite unbearable. Next we got Michael Langdon, old and young. Um, I'll put them together, although they are quite different. Michael Langdon goes A tier for me. Just when he comes in the season, he instantly makes it more interesting. The story with him as a kid, throughout the whole series, it gets a little weird. Like episode 7 or 8, when the whole Satan Church or whatever it's called, that stuff is kind of cringe. But he really demands the attention, and he's a likable villain. He's a strong villain. He's a villain that's too strong because he's godly. That's maybe one of the setbacks, but nonetheless, I think he's a likable character. And what's the strongest story with him was the stuff that he came out of the murder house and Constance, and he's Satan's child. I think that was really interesting. And seeing him go through the school of magic for boys was really cool too. That story. Next, we got, his name was John. John was really cool. I like that he saw what was going on. He has this kind of um nick for, he's a pessimist, but that also makes him a realist. Let's put him that way. And I'd put him just, Countess should go there actually. I'd put him just above Ben, above these. I just, Ben's quite memorable to me. I put him just about here. I think he's a really cool guy. I don't know. he felt like a real wizard to me. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's cool. Miss Mead, first robot on the show, I think. Mead was annoying, but it was a cool concept. Uh, Vivian was better than. This guy was probably also worse. Pretty. Yeah, we'll put her there. Timothy, pretty much a useless character. We could put him in, I guess, like here. Then we got Behold, and the only thing that makes him better than a D tier character, or Vivian doesn't deserve D tier. We'll put her at the bottom of C. Where did I put Behold? Um, just the fact that that Return to Murder House episode showed so much of his character, and I really liked him with Madison. That was fun. And I'd put him just behind Vivian. I thought, I'd say that as like a compliment because you see, I put a lot of the Apocalypse characters down here, and I thought he was entertaining. And he's one of the more reasonable wizards, just not quite John level. Ariel, although an interesting concept, he was definitely a D tier character. We'll put him at the very top of D though. It was kind of his getting blinded by all the power was, annoying. And then, Apocalypse had some really weak characters. That's what I'll say about that season. I think that Michael Langdon shined bright with, and Return to Murder House was the highlight of the season. Moving on, we have 1984, which I think is a fantastic season, and the characters are really likable in this season, good or bad. That's really important. Starting off with Brooke, I think they picked an excellent final girl, and she can go. I just realized Twisty should probably be above here, and we can move Betty and Dot bottom of A tier. Brooke. I'm gonna start moving some of these up to A tier. The Brooke can be here. I think that's appropriate. Great final girl. I thought she played that role perfectly. It's meant to be stereotypical, so you're not gonna get the most interesting character, I guess. But she filled that slot perfectly. Montana, however, is what really made this season alive. She nailed they nailed that 80s feeling with her. I'd compare her to the likes of these two. We'll put her. I like to put her here because she really was strong in that season. The 80s vibe went through her. Next we have Margaret Booth. Just that name alone sounds like a villain. And Margaret Booth, I'll put her here. I thought she was, very unlikable, but that's, you know, I do prefer a likable villain, but unlikable means that they're playing the part well. Uh, that doesn't feel quite right to me. This feels more right to me, but I do think she was a scary villain and a gruesome one. Heartless, kind of like Dandy Mott. So effective, but it was obvious like from the get go that she was gonna be the villain. I guess that was one of the downsides of the season. Next we got Xavier. He has some really funny lines. All the characters pretty much are fun in this season, and when he burns his face and he blames someone, he says, "Because of you, my future is now in radio." I think that was really funny. So, he deserves to be like the top of C tier. Out there, I think is right. Next, we got Chet, who I put just above Xavier. I think he's a little more entertaining and denying the roids, and he's one of the better guys in the crew. Like Ray is selfish, and so is Xavier, but Chet, would go back and save someone's life, which is honorable. And then I think here we get the ultimate GOAT of the season. I think Benjamin Richter is really underrated. I think he's such a strong character. The good to bad to good was great. You get fighting scenes, you get scenes with his mother, with his brother, with the people who he supposedly killed, and he kills some people, and he's trying to defend his son, and then he meets his son again when he's grown up. Just a remarkable story. I don't know. I almost want to put him in S, and this is gonna be like a unique take from. This is me straying from the community. I think he's just super unique. Then we got Richard Ramirez for the second time in the show after Hotel. Um, it was really boring seeing him get resuscitated over and over and over again. But I think he played. It was fun for a while. I'd like to put him in front of Dell, and I think Vivian's better than Dell as well. Vivian just keeps moving up. Mm, this feels right. About there. Ray is a dirtbag. Don't like Ray. He betraying Chet, trying to run away from his friends, taking the bike, gets a deserved and amazing kill from Mr. Jingles on him. E F F. Not likable character. Moving on, we have Bobby, who we get in one episode, but that episode is enough to convince me to put him at the bottom of B. Top of C. That feels a little bit off, though, doesn't it? I'll put him there. I think he's that moment with him and his father and the rest of the cast is really beautiful, and that's why I put him this high. I just instantly likable character for me. So now we're done, and let me just mention the 1984. Yeah, like I said, he really makes this season work. Benjamin Richter. So moving on, let me just make some small adjustments now that we can see everything. I'm happy with the F and D tier. The C tier, yeah, looks about right to me. B, this is our biggest plot of characters, and I want to move. I'm pretty happy with the bottom here. Delphine, yeah. We can move these guys up to A tier. I think they all deserve it. And then, does anyone else deserve S tier? Most of these characters almost deserve S tier. I think Misty deserves S tier. Constance as well. Something like that. I think that's appropriate. I almost want to, like I mentioned before, I feel like putting Twisty there because he's just like the iconic scary guy from the show. But as a character, I think he's in the right place for me. And I'd like to also move Sister Jude a little lower, about there. About there, actually, for me. This is a personal list. So this is how I would put it, about like that. Tate, is he iconic enough for S? Yeah, he's an A. So that's my list. This was a really fun video to make for me, unedited, uncut. You guys got to see it live. I have plenty of other AHS content, but more importantly, let me know in the comments below what I got wrong, who you'd put in S or F. What are your favorite characters that I leave someone out here that you wish was in here? Let me know. And request more AHS content, though I already have a lot of different content and expect that second episode of the AHS seasons ranked sometime soon. So subscribe for more AHS content if you enjoy it. But with that being said, this is a bit of a long video, so I won't take up any more of your time. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.